back here with Eric Haydock from the Hollies and also some of the other boys. Eric, when was the Hollies formed?
1963. I formed the band with Alan Clark and Graham Nash, of course. Graham is now Crosby, Stills and Nash, we all know and love.
And Just One Look was probably one of the first songs that you had?
I think Just One Look came third. We did a couple of cover versions first. We did a song called Searching and Just Like Me, which were American cover versions. And then we stumbled across Doris Troy's Just One Look.
But who wrote, did you get anybody in the band right?
Later on?
Yeah.
But at that particular point, for the first 9 singles, the A-sides were so strong, we were really relegated to the B-sides.
How many did you have in a row?
9.
9?
Yes, they would have all been number ones if it wasn't for the fact that the Beatles were released on the same day, because we both recorded at the same studio, which was EMI Abbey Road in London, the famous EMI. And EMI, in their wisdom, I suppose it was flashy really, because they said, I think that you can know your home with the Beatles, you know, so it was always released on the same Friday.
Yeah.
All the other bands, they all avoided it, you know, because obviously the Beatles were such a phenomenon that they were actually number 1 6 weeks before it was ever released in prepaid records, which you couldn't compete.
No, in those days, but the music has stood the test of time. All your songs.
Absolutely.
I was trying to work out. Now we better introduce the boys. We've got Mike, Kaz, Pete, and Graham, and Lawrence on the end. What do you play, Dub?
I play the triangle.
Oh yeah, and not well at that. Now. All you other boys have come from it's like that.
Yeah,
have come from other bands.
Yeah.
Can you just explain where you're from?
Well, I'm from Scotland, me, but I got demoted to England when I was 18, and I played with Wayne Fontana for a while.
Yeah.
Who's also from Manchester, and that's basically how I got to know Eric, you know.
Right. So how long have you been with Eric now?
I've been with Eric 12 years now.
Oh, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you have any fight?
Well.
And what about you, Pete?
Well, again, we've known Eric really from the 60s days and stuff, you know, but throughout the 70s, whatever, Mike and myself, we had a band called Ritzy.
Yeah.
And in fact, we had quite a big hit over here in Australia in about 76, something like that.
What was it?
It was a tune called Too Much Fandango.
Yeah, really.
And it was very successful. We never actually got the chance to come here at the time with Ritzy, so it was kind of a
do you do that song in this?
Yeah, we do.
We do, actually. Actually, I have to go off to make me go off to that one.
Oh.
That's a little bit of claim
But
to
you get a
fame.
rest, darling, and I think that's
Oh, I go off
important.
and have a two. I go and have a twoies.
And what about you, Kaz?
Or 2 teas, or 2.
Well, you were in that band with Too Much Fandango.
Yeah, well, Pete and I wrote the song.
So how long in this group now?
I've been with Eric about the same time, about 12 years, yeah.
When you say you wrote the song, does that mean that the royalties are still coming in? Did you buy a house out of the royalties? That's what I always want to know, because you've got to write in this.
It's not exactly what I bought. I bought a washing machine for the missus.
Well, that's all right.
You've got to remember they only got paid in Australian dollars. I mean, they don't make the Australian dollars. Don't
Was
mean
it
a lot
not a
of
huge hit overseas? Because it was here.
Well, it wasn't a hit in England because at the time they had a radio play panel, and they didn't care for it, so they didn't play it on the main radio station.
Well, did you go through the same things? Australian bands couldn't get played in Australia. Did you find that at some stage they wouldn't play English records, they'd play all the American imports?
That particular song, Too Much Fandango, was bizarre because it was actually very successful here, as you know, and it was successful in South America, oddly enough, and it was covered in Spain and Germany and places. The only one territory that wouldn't play it was our own country. You know what I mean? And
that must hurt a bit.
Well, you got to relate to the Brits. They don't relate to sea, sun, and drink in that order. It's taboo. The only time they ever see that is when they go to Spain for their holidays. So a record like that just would not appear.
It's a sort of, isn't it, with the sort of songs that are out now, that you could do it again and make a hit of it?
Well, if anyone from Warner Brothers is watching, you know, consider re-releasing again.
But in the UK, who were you up against at the time? The Bay City Rollers, I suppose.
That era, I don't know, really. I can't remember.
Yeah, you would do, yes.
Bay City Rollers were...
They would have been dominating the charts through the middle 70s.
Yeah, they were
It
70s.
was pretty much, you know, that David Bowie sort of Roxy music
Right.
era. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get the trousers on, you know, those tight trousers. I just couldn't get into.
Stovepipe one.
I couldn't get into those.
Now, with your audiences, have they changed over the years? Or your music appeals to everybody, I reckon?
Mm-hmm.
Even younger people. Do you get younger?
Well, I think what happens is it's a process where the mums and dads who obviously were around in the 60s, they bring their offsprings
Yeah.
and introduce them to the music. But if they like it, they keep coming. If they don't, they go into their own thing, you know. But,
Now, how long have you touring this time? Where have you been?
We'll be about 6 weeks this time in Australia.
6 weeks, and then where?
Well, we go back home and we do a tour of England
Yep.
with we're doing it with the Tornadoes,
Various other foundations.
Tornadoes, Foundations, Union Gap.
Union Gap.
Oh, the Union Gap, yeah.
Remember the
Yes,
Union Gap?
yes.
So that's going around in England, and then then in the fall we go to the States.
Oh, great. So you're touring all the time. That's
Basically,
fabulous.
pretty much.
And you still love it? I haven't
It's very
spoken to you.
Oh, Michael.
I can't speak very well.
Well, he did say.
Now, this is your nephew.
My nephew.
When?
Somebody's written there.
Where?
Uncle Eric.
Oh, no. How can I explain? No. Michael is the youngest of the band. He's only in his early
I'm just a young
30s.
puppy.
Oh, yeah, youngster.
He either calls me Uncle Eric or Dad.
Oh, right. Well, you've got to have someone to look up to, and you couldn't have anybody better than you,
Well, that's true. I mean, he was going to come on television today with a
Uncle Eric.
horizontal stripe T-shirt, which is, as you know, taboo on television. He just doesn't.
Well, you're teaching him all the right
So
things
I have
then.
to.
Oh, yeah.
I have
You're
to
welcome.
take him in.
So were you with any bands that we would know before you, or how long have you been with Uncle Eric?
I've been with these guys 2 years. Before that, I've been in different bands.
Well, actually, I picked Michael up. He was with the Mosley Pipers walking band. He was just about to cross the lights, and I said, "You'll do. If you work cheap enough, you can have the job." And that's
Was that like that in that movie Brass Off?
That's right, that's it.
Yeah.
The old match.
Have you seen that movie, Brass Off?
Oh, brass stuff. Sorry.
I thought I said something rude.
So, Michael, do they still play hard? These? Yeah. Yeah.
Do
Have
they?
trouble keeping up?
Yeah,
Because Lawrence is in bed by 8:30.
Absolutely.
He doesn't have late nights.
like me.
doesn't.
No,
Why
no,
is
no.
that, Lawrence?
No staying power, Dale.
Oh, yeah.
None at all. Anyway, we want to wish you a lovely time in Australia. Please thank Eric Haydock from the Hollies, and Graham, Pete, Kaz, Mike, and Eric, as we said. See you tomorrow.